I grew these squash last year on this trellis and the trellis behind me. I've kept them all winter in the pantry where they're cool. I'm gonna cut them open and see how they look, see how they held up. Hopefully be able to save some seeds, even though it's a little bit too early to plant them. I'm gonna see if they germinate, see whether we get anything. Come along. The cutting board is too small, but it will work. Got a pan to bake them and a plate to save seeds. So I'm excited to see what this looks like when we cut it open. And I'm even more excited to see what the seeds are like. So right off, it definitely looks more like a winter squash. When I used these in the summer, they were much greener, a lot more like zucchini. This almost looks like a sweet potato or a butternut squash. Okay. Now the important part. I want to see what this looks like for seeds on the inside. I've always used seeds that I've bought before. I've never saved any from these. This will be the first year I've tried it. Oh, look at that. That is a rich color. Oh, yeah. Oh, certainly. Those have got to be good seeds. I'm just going to save them all. And I'll try and germinate a few. See what happens. So this part, I'm just going to cook like a butternut squash. I'm just going to put it down on the pan and see what it does. And these, I'm going to chop these down a little smaller. Peel them up first. I'm going to put them with some salt and pepper, a little Italian seasoning. Try it a couple different ways. See what it tastes like. It is very definitely a different texture than in the summer. In the summer, there's so much juice that was coming out of these things that it just got all over everything. All right, so I got it pretty well peeled. Just finished chopping it up. Wanted to try some bigger chunks. I didn't think that those other ones looked very meaty. I've got some olive oil. Drizzle just a little bit. I'll brush that on. These ones I'm going to turn down and let those bake right on the pan. And these I'm just going to toss. We'll add some seasonings. A little bit of salt. A little bit of pepper. I think on at least part of this, I'm going to put some Italian seasoning. I don't want to put too much in case I don't like that. All right. Stir that about a bit. Spread them around. I'm going to pop them into a 350 oven and just let them bake till they're soft. All right, the seeds, we're just going to take all of this stuff and I'm going to put it right in this jar. I'm going to let those ferment overnight in a little bit of water. All right, a little bit of water added in. Just going to put the lid on. You do a little shake. And I'm just going to leave those sit on the counter. And in the morning, I'll be able to strain them out and all that stuff should come off of them pretty easily. And this is what I had left over that'll go in the compost pile. See, I did have a couple spots that I had to cut out. Those may have been places where it got bug bit in the winter time, or even at the end of the season last year that I just didn't see, but there wasn't a lot of that. The rest of this will just go into my compost. So I have pulled it out of the oven. We started out with this big old summer squash that I've stored over the winter. This one I'll probably use for Easter. Cut it up and save some seeds. And then we baked it on a sheet pan with just some olive oil and some seasonings. I did poke this with a fork to make sure that it came out nice and clean. So I think it's pretty well done. It did not take very long to cook. Look at that color. Isn't that nice? We'll put a little bit of butter and brown sugar on that one, I think, just to see if it's anything like a butternut squash. But for right now, here's our moment of truth. See how it tastes. It's pretty much just like a butternut squash. Maybe just a little bit different, but it's nutty. It's a little bit sweet. I think it's really good with the Italian seasoning, so I may try that again. I think it's pretty versatile. That squash you can cook summer for zucchini, and in the wintertime hold on to it and use it just like a butternut. So hope you grow it because it's really good. All right, so I am going to do one of these with a little bit of butter and brown sugar. So that's how we ate butternut squash when I was growing up. And I'm still kind of partial to it that way. Kind of ruins the healthy part of it, but it's so good. All right, I'll bake that up, see how it does. Okay, so I've got some that I set aside as some coins for later. And I'm just going to scrape this out to make like some mashed squash. Store it up with it too. When I'm ready to use it, I can squish it a little bit better, but for right now, I'm just going to mash it and put it in next to the little coins. I use that in some kind of casserole. That way I'm saving containers. I'm not using a bunch of containers. There. So here's what it looked like at the oven with the butter and brown sugar baked on. It did leak out a little bit, but that's okay. It'll still taste good. And I decided to make up some pot stickers to go with it. So I think that'll be a good dinner this evening. Maybe not the most beautiful looking plate of food, but it's pretty tasty. I think it'll do for dinner tonight. It is the next morning. Got my seeds been soaking all night in a strainer, and we'll see how they look. Yeah, right off the bat, a lot of that stuff has come off. Let's see if I can get them rinsed off good. And that's what we got. So I've laid out paper towels on a paper plate. Just gonna put these seeds on there. Most of them on. Spread them out a bit. But when they're dry, I should be able to store them in plastic bags. So I saved back these 6. I'm gonna go and see if they'll grow for me in the greenhouse. All right, so I've got our squash seeds that we saved. Filled up an old yogurt container with just some potting soil, moistened it up, marked it so that I'll remember what it is, because next week I'll forget what I did this week. And all I'm going to do is just poke some holes, drop in a seed, and just kind of cover them up. This is more of a germination test than anything else, so I'm planting fairly heavily in here. I've got 6 seeds. And as long as I get them all covered at least a little, I think we'll be fine. If any of them happen to grow, to where I'll be able to plant them outside. That'd be awesome. But it's still a little bit early for that. These grow pretty fast, so they may get too big in here before it gets warm enough outside. All right, so we've got those climbing squash seeds planted. We'll see if they grow, and if we're lucky, we'll have climbing squash that's gone full circle from the seeds that I bought to the seeds that we saved and started up again. And that's the way you keep your garden going for little of nothing. Look at that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Every single one of them came up. That is 100% germination rate. I'm going to see how long I can keep them going and try to plant them outside. Might get a really early start this year.